Welcome to the first ever episode of Norris Lee TV. Coming up on tonight's episode, Benjamin Lee wears his uniform, Avrami hits the high notes, and Amalie Kastner has a giggle.
We're so excited to give you an opportunity to connect with us in this virtual manner. You know, we miss you all. It's so hard every week. This is up to the 6th week that we don't have shul. And it's really sad. It's really sad that we can't see you in person. And so we said, you know what? We're going to bring the community to you. How do you feel, Rabbi Guttentag, about not going to shul? Are you enjoying your quiet, silent Shabbat at home? Tell me the truth.
The truth is, Shabbos is the biggest rest I'm getting. It's amazing. During the week, it's crazy busy. About a year ago, I was having a go at a guy in shul. You know, I'm not seeing him in shul for a while. You know, we needed more support for the weekday minyan. And he said, well, it's all right for you, Rabbi. I mean, you know, it's your job. It's your life, you know, coming to shul. But, you know, I've got business. I've got work. But that same guy just said to me recently how much he's missing shul. And I feel that as well. We don't realize how much shul is really part of our lives. But here at Norris Lee, it's important to note that the strength of our community reaches far beyond the walls of the physical building at Norris Lee. We're a strong community. We're keeping together. There's a great mood of positivity within the community that many people have spoken to. Yes, there are problems. It's not all hunky-dory. And of course, our thoughts and prayers are going with those who are suffering. And yes, there are. But I would like just to share with you a quick thought, because tonight we're commemorating Yom Hazikaron. It's the day traditionally observed before Israel Independence Day, where in Israel it's a tremendous day of joy. I think it's the only one of 2 days when everything is closed, Yom Kippur and Yom HaAshma'ut. So Yom HaAshma'ut is a very special day, but we don't go into the Jewish way of thinking. We don't go straight into the day of celebration. We have to think about what led up to that celebration. And, you know, the Israelis and the entire Jewish world owes the independence and the very existence of our Jewish state to the Chayalim, to the soldiers, the young boys and girls who have literally put their lives on the line for our beloved Eretz Yisrael. And we're very privileged here in our community to have lone soldiers, members of our community, who are out there on the front line, defending the Jewish state, defending the Jewish people. And we're about to hear an interview from Benjamin Lee, a member of our community, who will be interviewed by our senior rabbi, Rabbi Daniel Friedman. And this will be followed by a memorial prayer for all those soldiers who sadly never made it, who lost their lives on the battlefield, on the front line, by the enemy. And this memorial prayer will be recited by Chazan Avrami. And we're now going to hear from Benjamin Lee himself. Benjamin
Lee is actually a IDF spokesperson unit. He served in the unit's international media branch. He made Aliyah at age 23 from Hampstead Garden suburb. And he was drafted to the IDF in February 2019. He grew up right here in Norris Lee, and he has proud parents of Tracy and Michael Lee. And without further ado, we have here Benjamin Lee in the uniform.
Shalom, Benjamin. How wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Norris Lee TV. You know, Benjamin, you are one of the heroes of the Hampstead Garden suburb community. A young man who decided to make Aliyah, join the IDF, and join really one of the elite units of the IDF, the spokespersons for the IDF, who Hasbara is half of the mission. And thank you for joining us, and thank you for everything you do for the state of Israel and the Jewish people. I want to just begin by sharing with our community how you and I met. We met over a Mariv on a train between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. There we were. I had just gotten off the plane from England. You had finished work in Tel Aviv. And we looked at one another, and you said to me, "Aren't you the rabbi of Norris Lee?" I says, "Yes, I am." He says, "Well," you say, "You know, I'm from Norris Lee. That's my family's community." And we opened the conversation. You told me what you did, and I said, wow, what an honor to meet you, to get to know you, Benjamin, and now to hear from your expertise about the current crisis. We're going to hear from you how the IDF are handling coronavirus and how some of the things will be changing over the next week as we enter Yom Hazikaron, Yom Ha'atzmaut. So tell me, what is the IDF doing in terms of a national response to COVID-19?
Shalom, Rabbi. Firstly, thank you very much for having me on here. Thank you for that lovely introduction as well. So in answer to your question, the IDF has a principal objective during this whole corona crisis, which is to maintain its operational readiness and continue to operate as it would in order to defend Israel's borders during what is a very challenging time. Obviously, the health of soldiers is crucial to this and maintaining the Army's capabilities. So this has been the focus of the IDF. But the IDF, being a people's army, quite unique in that respect, has also played a very important role in assisting government-led efforts and by the Ministry of Health in combating the spread of the virus in Israel and assisting those who have the virus or are vulnerable to becoming infected. So there's been a number of operations led by the IDF Home Front Command, principally, with thousands of their soldiers and reservists being mobilized. One of the big things has been to pack and distribute essential supplies of food, hygiene products, and medicines to vulnerable people and communities across the country, including the elderly. In the last few weeks, there's been a very big effort to distribute supplies to Israel's Muslim communities across the country in anticipation of the beginning of Ramadan, because this would normally be a very busy time for Muslim families out shopping, and this hasn't been possible. So that has been a big focus in the last few days. And of course, communities which have been hard hit by the virus, such as the ultra-Orthodox community in the city of Bnei Brak. So the IDF took a lead. One of the paratroopers divisions were involved in this, in enforcing the lockdown in the city. And things are starting to improve there, but that's been a very big part of the IDF's operations. Additionally, in the more general restrictions that have been put in place by the government, especially over Pesach and over Yom Ha'atzmaut, which is coming up next week, then there's going to be there's been an IDF presence in supporting the police and enforcing the civilian lockdown too. And IDF has also been mobilizing its technological expertise in the battle against corona. So units such as Unit 81, which is an intelligence unit, has been applying its technological expertise to some of the issues that are facing not just Israelis, but these are worldwide issues.
Can you give us any examples of that?
Yeah, sure. So one example is the development of a prototype, which has now actually gone into production, of a device that, a BPAP home ventilator that is able to be not just for home use, but also to be used as a ventilator in hospitals. This was done in conjunction with the Sheba Hospital. And as I say, production has begun, and the ventilators are already in operation in the hospital. Another thing has been the mobilization of the IDF's weapons manufacturing unit, for example, to produce PPE and protective face masks and these sorts of things. So the IDF has been really involved in that.
How do soldiers maintain social distancing while they're on base? Is that an issue? Is there any corona that's been found among soldiers?
Yes. So the social distancing guidelines, as put out by the Ministry of Health, are being adhered to across IDF bases. Of course, it's not easy. These bases were, with a lot of soldiers in one place, with very strict routines that had to adapt very quickly to the measures being put in place. From the small things such as, in large canteens and dining halls on the bases, soldiers are having to sit much further apart, and but this also extends out into the field and exercises. So it's obviously a very difficult operation. But another thing has been that soldiers who are on closed bases, so bases where they normally go to serve for a week, 2 weeks, and then they come home at the weekend or after 2 weeks or so, have been asked to stay for a lot longer on their bases, with some Chaylim only coming home for the first time after more than 40 days in the last few days and weeks. So that meant spending all of Pesach as well on base, away from families. So it's been a difficult time for soldiers and their families in that respect. And of course, from very early on, foreign travel was banned for soldiers. And any soldiers returning from abroad were placed into quarantine for a period of up to 14 days. And the IDF has provided quarantine facilities specifically for soldiers who have fallen ill with the disease, and as well others who have potentially come into contact with somebody with the disease in order to quarantine them. So that's been
hard for you. Must have been hard for you as a lone soldier to do Pesach. I mean, how is it for lone soldiers right now during Corona?
Well, so obviously it's a difficult time, and many lone soldiers who had their planned leave to go and visit their families abroad, having that cancelled due to the current situation. And as a lone soldier myself, this is obviously difficult. But I think the army has really shown a great deal of support for lone soldiers during the last couple of months, and specifically around Pesach. For example, an extra grant was given to help lone soldiers financially who are either not currently on base because they've been asked to not go back until the foreseeable future, and suddenly have the added cost of meals each day. So that's one thing. Each lone soldier also received a big package before Pesach from the IDF personnel unit, with matzot, grape juice, haggadah, and supplies that lasted throughout the week as well, which was extremely helpful. And
is there anything that we can do to be able to support the IDF during this time?
I think the continued support of Jewish communities all around the world for lone soldiers and the IDF is extremely important now more than ever. And we're very grateful for all the support that does come from organizations abroad and in the United Kingdom and our community for us. So I would encourage that to continue. And I would also say that with Yom Hazikaron and Yom Ha'atzmaut coming up, obviously this year it's going to be very different. It's going to be different here in Israel.
Yeah, tell us. We've been reading these cemeteries are going to be closed this year to memorial services. I mean, how do families memorialize their loved ones with cemeteries closed? What will it look like?
Obviously, it's a very, very difficult situation because Yom Hazikaron, Memorial Day, is such an important day in the national calendar and for the Jewish people as a whole. So with the restrictions in place, families of bereaved families of soldiers who have fallen in the past have been asked to come and visit over the current days and before Yom HaZikaron the cemeteries, so that we're able to implement the social distancing measures even on this day in the cemeteries. But it's obviously very, very, very difficult. And then moving into Yom Ha'atzmaut the next day, it's a great national symbol to have the Israeli Air Force fly over the parks and the beaches from north to south in Israel on Independence Day, and it's something people gather to watch and enjoy so much. And unfortunately, this has been not entirely cancelled, but tailed down this year. And instead, there'll be a smaller flyover over Israeli hospitals across the country in solidarity with the medical professionals fighting the disease.
Wow, amazing. Well, thank you so much, Benjamin. I really appreciate your time and all of your incredible insight. Maybe if we just conclude with, I don't know if you have an inspirational idea you want to share with your friends and family back here in the suburb to keep us going through this crisis, through the darkness.
Well, this is obviously an extremely difficult period for everyone around the world. And I think that, as I say, with these very important days this week, Yom Hazikaron and Yom Ha'atzmaut, we should use them as an opportunity to appreciate the incredible sacrifice of the Israel Defense Forces and soldiers over the many decades to protect Israel, and on Yom Ha'atzmaut renew our the strong bond that we feel with Israel everywhere in the world as Jews. And to even if it's by a virtual celebration or just at home doing something for these days, then I would encourage you to really do so, and just to feel the Jewish people very very strongly as we commemorate and celebrate these important days.
Well, thank you so much, Benjamin. Thank you. Stay safe and healthy and well. And Yasher Koach to you for everything you do for us, for the entire Jewish people. Wish you a Yom Hazikaron that is meaningful, and Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach. May we only share smachot.
Thank you very much, Rabbi. Thank you for having me again. And I echo your blessings to everyone else.
El moler rachamim shochein b'meromim hametzei menachnechoyna lekanefei hashechina b'ma'alos kedoshim utorim kezohar orokia mazirim esen nishamos hakedoshim shenilachamu bechol marachos Yisrael b'macheteres u'betzava haganal Yisrael v'shenafelu b'milcham metam v'yeseni shemos hakedoshim shenirtzechu b'feiguei terror u'maseru nafesham al kiddush Hashem ba'avur shel mispalelim beyad ilui nishmoseihem lochein ba'al rachamim yastirei meseiser kenofecho le'olamim v'yitzeror achayim es nishmoseihem Adonai hu nachalosam v'yonuchu b'shalom al mishkoseihem v'noyemar amen.
Thank you, Benjamin Lee. That was really amazing things that you're doing there. We're so honored to have you as one of our members here at HCSS. And Chazar Avrami, it's always lovely hearing your voice. And now we turn to a weekly event that we're going to feature in Norris Lee TV. And this week we have the exciting Kastner family to interview.
Woo!
Oh.
Okay, so now let's say hello to a very well-known Hampstead Garden suburb family. Family Kastner! Thank you for joining us this evening. Now, a very talented family, aren't you? I just want to ask you, what are your coping strategies during this period now? First of all, actually, why don't you all tell us your name and then tell us what your coping strategies are during this time. We'll start with you, Sarah.
Oh, with me?
Yeah.
Sarah, yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Sarah Kastner. I'm Mummy Kastner to these four. And coping strategy. I guess I've quite enjoyed the lockdown. It's nice to have all the family at home. Nobody is rushing off anywhere. And I guess we've had, routine. There's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There is schoolwork when it needs to be done, and we've done activities and games and, Shabbos and Yom Tov davening to keep us all going.
Oh, so nice. And has Robbie been the warden during your home prayers?
Well, I certainly rallied the troops, that's for sure. But, anyway, as far as coping strategy goes, well, I go running and I go out on my bike. And
Go running?
yeah, I go running.
It seems like the boy.
A bit of fresh air.
It seems like the boys have a different version of what's going on in the house.
Well, hi, my name's Jonah Kastner, and my coping strategy is actually just learning my daily dose of Torah. That guides me through these really tough and strange times.
That was very well rehearsed, Jonah. Fantastic.
We're on reality TV.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
I think Robbie's coping strategy is actually going to his home office and shutting the door and only appearing at meal times.
Yeah, and then going for a run.
And then going for a run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's working
Basically,
really
keeping out the way. Keeping out the way. That's the coping strategy.
well. So, Raphael.
Hi, I'm Raphael, and my coping strategy has been, I've been doing lots of cycling, so I go every day. Yes, I've been going really far and trying to explore London because the streets are all really empty, which is really nice.
Lovely. So you don't learn as much Torah as your brother, it seems.
No comparison. We don't compare. We don't compare.
I'm trying. I'll give you a call, Rabbi.
Fantastic. Right, the girls have been very quiet.
For a change.
For a change. Right.
Hi.
Oh.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sedalia.
Hi.
And my coping strategy has been going on nice long walks.
Galia, tell us about the challenge that you're taking on. The 5K, is that what it's called?
Oh yes, Couch to 5K, yes.
She's yet to start it.
I haven't started yet. Hopefully I will start.
She's still at the couch
Never.
stage.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it? The 3 5s? What? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
5K. It's a thing. It's an app, I think.
No, but you can either do, there's a 5K challenge and you can do it by running, walking or cycling. So I think Raphael's already said he was also nominated and he's doing it by cycling. And Sigalia seems to be promising that she'll be doing it by
I like
running.
going on nice long walks. Running isn't my thing.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, Amalia, what's your coping strategy? Oh, sorry.
Hi, I'm Amalia Kastner.
Hi, Amalia.
Hi, James. My coping strategies.
Making lots of noise.
Yeah, making lots of noise.
Yeah, I heard you.
She likes to tell everyone else that she's
Doing the
bored.
8 o'clock claps every Thursday.
Good.
She does that with great enthusiasm, the 8 o'clock Thursday clap.
Yeah. Not so much clapping as whooping and screaming, I would say.
And playing basketball.
Yeah.
Lots of basketball for Amalia.
Oh,
Oh,
awesome.
fantastic.
Oh, and another thing, each of the kids is cooking a meal during the week. And so far we've had 3 that have been fantastic. We're now waiting for the 4th.
So do you go for your run before dinner or after?
Usually before
Or
dinner.
during, if they're doing the cooking.
No, we have family meal times, which is a real treat because normally during the week, Monday to Thursday, we don't have family meal times. The kids eat, or schedules allowing, And then Robbie and I tend to eat later, but now with the lockdown, we all have family meals.
Yes.
Oh, that is precious. That's really nice.
Lots of family
Yes,
time.
yes, it's very lovely.
Have you had any amusing challenges? Anything amusing that's been challenging?
Well, actually,
Funny,
I'm glad you asked, really, because usually on Chol Pesach we would take a trip to Willow's farm. Not that we've done that for the past few years, many years actually, but this year I decided I will take my family back to Willow's farm, and I arranged a Willow's farm activity day in the garden with the family, and we went searching for gold, and we had an obstacle course thanks to Amalia, we had a treasure hunt from Sigalia, and I even took them on a Tristan the Tractor ride where we learned lots about farm animals, and it was very exciting.
Including apes, I think.
Yes, a very action-packed day.
Yeah.
And we all had to take part in it.
And it was brilliant.
So this was all done virtually?
No.
Yeah.
We recreated, Amalia built an obstacle course in the garden using whatever we have in the house and in the garden. And then Sigalia did a treasure hunt. We split up into teams, and we had to go and pick up clues around the garden and run up and down the street looking for clues that had been left in neighbours' front gardens. And the hunting for gold was the little Neapolitan chocolates that are wrapped in gold. Jonah hid those around the garden.
Social Pesach, please note.
Yes. So we had to go looking for those. And Tristan the Tractor ride, well, actually, it was us holding onto a piece of rope, but Jonah had planted pictures of the animals all around the garden. And as we went round holding onto our rope, he gave us tidbits of information about the different animals that we drove past.
It was brilliant.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then we had another day that was organised by Raphael, where...
So on Sunday last week, we did, I ran a Taskmaster challenge, which is, it's like the TV show Taskmaster, so you have to complete a series of challenges. So one was you have to knock over, we had some wickets from cricket, the stumps, and you had to knock them over without moving from the back. And then so my dad tried to throw a basketball, and Jonah tried to do a remote control thing. And they're all really creative. So another one was you had to paint a picture of me without using paint or paintbrushes or paper or pens or anything like that. So my mum made me out of chocolate, and Jonah tried to make a face out. Jonah tried to make me out of pancakes as well, which is quite funny.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you're really a family unit where you tried many different things to do together. What's your values? What's your family slogan? What's your bumper sticker?
Oh, God.
Mum, Dad.
Well, my family slogan is never miss an opportunity to wind somebody up.
Are we related? I think we're related.
And my personal strategy is never miss an opportunity for a whiskey, but that's different,
Amalia's slogan is, why be quiet when you can make noise? Right?
And my mum says, this house is not a democracy, it's a dictatorship, and I am dictator.
Do you let him say that?
No,
it does.
On occasion, I have told them that they are mistaken in thinking that it's a democracy in this household.
Just once or twice.
It's not. It's a dictatorship.
You were doing so well until now.
I know.
Occasionally, somebody has to put the boundaries into place.
You've heard of Kim Jong-un, right? Who may or may not be well at the moment. At the moment, here we've got Kimmy S.
Thank you.
Wow.
They make me out to be so bad. I'm really not.
Jewish mother.
Yeah.
You'll have to cut out that last bit.
You are live right now. So it's great to hear that everybody has individual slogans, and then what would be the one word that the Kastners have?
Coffee.
Coffee.
No, I don't know. We were actually talking about this earlier. We went on a walk, and they all said that our family slogan is, why have one meat on Shabbat when you can have 3 kinds of meat on Shabbat?
Oh, I like that. Nice.
Yeah.
But we'll leave you with that thought. What is, there must be a deeper meaning to that.
I mean, sorry, it could be, we live and die by Costco.
Was right by Bushy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Right, well, thank you so much, Kastner. Thank you. May you continue to be an inspiration to all of us. Thank you for allowing us into your lives a little bit. There's a lot for us to learn from that. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you again. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us. Wow, what a family. Aren't they amazing?
They really are a role model family. Thank you, Sarah, Robbie, Amalia, Jonah, Raphael, Segalia, all of you. A talented family, a role model to us all. Thank you very much for joining us.
Tonight, following our event, we have continue on our mental health series. We have Christian Calland, teacher and children's behavior, who will talk to us about how to care for children and teenagers during the lockdown at 8 o'clock, Facebook Live. Please tune in. And then don't forget, Tuesday is Yom Ha'atzmaut. We will see celebrating in different varieties. We have our own Hillary Halter doing a series of pictures of going throughout history of Israel through images, and that's a Zoom event, so please email Gail. And then we will have in the evening, we will feature with Mizrahi and B'nai Akiva. We will go live on Facebook again to celebrate this amazing Yontif, and we're very excited about it. And look out for our HESS choir with Chazan Avrami. This is an exciting video that we have featured with Mr. Fingerhut. We're looking forward to seeing the end result. Thank you all for all your submissions, and we're so excited that you're able to join us for our first episode of Norris Lee TV.
I'm on there as well. Thank you. Please all join us next week, because next week we will be hearing from our very own MP, Mike Freer. And it was under a year ago where we planted crocuses with Mike Freer. And in fact, if you're ever driving past Kinloss Shul, you'll see them spudding and sprouting beautifully, which we planted. Oh, I'm very proud of those. Thank you very much. Yeah, I want to thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next week. Everybody, keep well, keep safe.